my name's Dan from Top Contractor. I recently created and shared a forum online called Know Your Numbers. And I wanted to do a quick rundown of what it is and how to use it to best serve you. I know there was some people with some questions. A bunch of people reached out. If you have questions, absolutely reach out to us. We'd love to talk to you about this. Understanding the numbers in your company is absolutely fundamental to your success. And we want you to be successful. I actually implement all this in my own contracting company, and I want to share it. Let's dive into what we have here. I've already filled it out so that we can go through it quickly and not waste a bunch of time on small details. So let's jump in. Right here, we're going to go ahead and change this number back to $100,000. $100,000 is a healthy amount of money to earn in a year for a lot of people. By no means does it make you wealthy, but currently in our current situation and economic landscape, $100,000 will, for most people, pay the bills. So we're going to start there. We're going to use that number. It's also a nice round number for the math that we're going to do later. Now, if you're working as an employee in order to make $100,000, and keep in mind, this is before taxes. So any taxes that you're paying is actually going to come off that $100,000. So in Canada, $100,000 is actually equal to about $75,000 a year. So let's keep that in mind, and we'll see where we put that down below. Now, if you're working 40 hours a week, normal employee hours with stat holidays, weekends, a couple weeks off a year, you're going to work roughly 2,080 hours a year. Now, this number and that way of thinking is how most people think when they're starting their own business. And it gets you into a lot of trouble because when you're running a business, you unfortunately will have downtime. You'll have time that is wasted time, or it's admin time. It's time where you can't actually charge anybody. And that time ends up getting tagged onto the end of your 40-hour work week if you're not accounting for it during the week. And that sucks for a lot of people. It's why a lot of new business owners feel like they're working 60-hour weeks, because they are. So we teach something called the 70-30 rule, which you'll see right here. Now, the 70-30 rule says that most business owners will be billable 70% of the time if they're a small operator. And 30% of the time, they are going to be off the clock. They are going to be doing tasks and items that they can't bill anybody for. And that works out to roughly 28 hours a week billable, 12 hours a week unbillable. Early on in my business, that worked out to be, I would put all of my appointments onto one day, and I'd spend about a half a day between the other 4 days running around, or an hour a day doing things that were unbillable. I tried to include things like picking up materials, tools, all that kind of stuff into the project so that I wasn't off the clock for that time. And I did that right away. But I still would spend about an hour a day at work unbillable. In order for me to hit $100,000 with the 70-30 rule, it means I only have 1,456 hours a year that I'm able to bill. I have to charge $68.68 to hit the same income as if I was working 40 hours a week as an employee. And that will take into account that downtime. If you're new to business and you were trying to figure out what you should charge by the hour, this is absolutely the rule that you should be following and looking at. If you're really new in your business, you might even be a 60-40 split, something to keep in mind. Use this as a guide. It is not a cure-all, but it is a really good guideline. Now, down here, we have the company overhead. We go through this. This is, again, a really good tool to use. It's obviously not going to include every expense that you might have in your company. Depending on your company, you could have all sorts of expenses that I don't have, but this is just a guide to help you make sure that you're calculating your overhead. Monthly expenses, this is going to be a place that you're going to put whatever you want in there. Any expenses that you have that don't fit into the rest of these, you might get to the end and think, oh, there was 3 things I didn't include. Well, add them up, throw them in here, and then they'll get factored into the equation. My banking costs every a month are about $150. My fuel costs are around $800 a month. My vehicles are $1,150 a month. My insurance is $230 a month on my vehicle. My maintenance and repairs for my vehicle is about $250 a month. My current business related payments, that's going to include my business insurance, any other payments that I'm using for services, that's going to go here. That's about $500 a month. Loans, I don't have any loans. I don't have any interest payments. My office expenses are around $200 a month. That includes things like printing, signs, printing plans, anything that I might need to source that I require in order to cost a project properly. That's going to go here. My taxes every month going to include my payroll remittance. So for me here in Canada, that means that as a company, I'm actually paying all the taxes on my my personal employment. So that works out to be about $1,800 a month. Again, you times that by 12, it puts $100,000 in the upper 70s. Again, we've got business operating related expenses. This is another place for you to put things that don't seem to fit somewhere else. Year-end taxes, for me, it costs me about $3,000 a year to file my taxes. So that's $250 a month I need to be putting away. Apps and subscriptions, that's about $60 a month. This is also going to include things like your CRM, your project management software. I've basically created my own within a free app. I don't have any of those payments, but things like Joyce or Buildertrend, you know, they could be $500, $600, $700 a month, and you're going to drop those in here. Business licenses, I pay about $50 a month for my business license. I have a business license for 2 different locations that cover roughly 8 cities. My web is $100 a month. My web marketing, Zero Marketing, is going to be about $800 a month. My phone is $210. So my total every year is $78,600 in overhead just to keep my business going without paying myself. Come down here. That works out to $37.79 an hour if I was an employee working 40 hours a week. But I am not. I'm a business owner, so I really only bill for about 28 to 30 hours a week. So that means I have to charge $53.98, $54 an hour just to keep my business afloat, to pay for all of the things that I require in order to deliver a service. If you jump all the way down here, this now shows you what you need to be charging by the hour. So if you were an employee, in order to pay for everything in your company and break even, you need to be charging, let's call it $86 an hour. As a business owner, with all of these expenses and the limited work time, in order to have a balance in your life, you need to be charging $122.66. Now, this is where people run into problems. When you come out of being an employee and you still have that mindset of 40 hours a week, that is almost a $40 an hour difference that you are not charging. This is why people go broke. If you think about all the hours that you're working in a month, in a year, and you realize that you haven't been charging $40 an hour, this is why people are working 60, 70 hours, because they're actually working 60, 70 hours to hit that 40-hour mark at $85 an hour, rather than activating the 70-30 rule, including their downtime in their regular week, charging enough in the hours they are working that they don't need to spend all of that extra time trying to hit that 40 hours a week. As a business owner, trying to hit 40 hours a week billable is extremely difficult. You know, you might have a big project that rolls around and you might be able to do that for a week, but you're going to start needing to think about future projects. You're going to need to be looking at other clients. You're going to be needing to create content, pay attention to warranty issues that come up. All of those things are going to eat into your time. And very quickly, you're going to find that you are running around working 60 hours a week, trying to make 40 hours a week at 85. When you could activate the 70-30 rule, charge $122 an hour for 70% of your time and cover the time that you're running around, have more balance, have more freedom, show up for your family, make more money. When you do work a 40-hour work week, those occasional times, suddenly you're getting a nice big bonus at the end of that week of income that you necessarily hadn't accounted for. That's how you can begin to come out ahead. Now, the other thing to notice, and you might be thinking $122 an hour is insane. That's way too much money. For me to maintain $100,000 a year lifestyle as a employee, I really typically would be paying all of these things, my truck, my fuel, my maintenance, my phone, my insurance, out of pocket. So I can begin to add all of that up here. We've got the gas, vehicles, insurance, maintenance and repairs, cell phone, all of those things we can begin to pull out of here and tally. For me in this situation, it works out to be about $30,000 a year. So I can come up here, I can make this $70,000 a year. I'm also paying no taxes here because the company's paying the tax. And I can maintain $100,000 a year lifestyle while only paying myself $70,000 a year. Now, what's good about that? Well, what's good about that, and why would you do that, is because you are now making all of that $30,000 a year of income taxable income is now business expense. So it's actually counting against the tax that you would pay. So it's actually benefiting you and helping your business. It's meaning you're paying less income tax as a person. So you're saving money and you're still maintaining a lifestyle that reflects the $100,000 mark. Your truck is paid for, your fuel is paid for, your insurance is paid for, your cell phone is paid for. All of these things that you would be using anyway are paid for, and you're basically borrowing them from the company when you use them for personal use. Now, again, this is something that you want to have a really good conversation with your bookkeeper and accountant about, because there are different rules in different areas regarding this. And the government does typically want to know what percentage of what is used for business and personal. So that's something to definitely have a conversation with your bookkeeper about. Again, these are just general guidelines and information for you to use and begin to ask the right questions to the right people so that hopefully you can get ahead in your business, stop working 60 hours a week, charge the right amount, and understand what you need to be charging per day or per hour in order to hit the income level that you really, really want to be at and get the freedom that you really want. So I hope this helped. The other thing, and we'll just jump back in here really quick, is if we make that $70 an hour, now my 70-30 rule, I have gone from $122 an hour to $102 an hour. It's a more competitive rate, and I'm maintaining a certain level. Now, keep in mind that this number here is your break-even number. You are going to want to add profit to that. A lot of people will do the gross profit method. They charge for a project, they multiply it by 2, and they get 50% gross profit. Now, that works. The issue with doing that, and the issue I have with doing that, is that I feel like it's a hope and a prayer. If I didn't cost things correctly, I am now losing twice, and I don't want to be there. So this for me is a way better way of doing it. It's way more accurate. It also allows me to make micro adjustments. For instance, say I get in a car accident, my insurance goes up. So then my insurance goes to $500 a month. Well, I needed to add $2 an hour in order to cover my new expenses. I don't get to the end of the year and realize that, oh, I need to raise my rates by 10% because I had a shortfall. I can just come into my form. I can make a micro adjustment. It spits out a new number for me, and I can continue on, and everything is accounted for, and my future clients are going to pay $2 an hour more than my previous clients, which works out to be 2%. And I can make these micro adjustments constantly throughout the year as things go up, things go down, fuel costs change, maintenance things change. And that's why I like doing it this way. I really believe that as a business owner, it's an absolute fundamental that we understand the costs involved in our business. And that's what this sheet is for. It's not just a general calculation. It's trying to get into a much more specific way of doing things. So I hope this helps. I hope that you guys benefit from this. If you're new in construction, You really are going to want to make sure you talk to your bookkeeper and your accountant, make sure that these numbers reflect accurate amounts. Don't take what I put in here as the rule for anything. They were just general numbers. A little disclaimer there. But if you are wanting to connect more, have questions, want to discuss this, absolutely reach out. Again, I'm Dan from Top Contractor. We have a Facebook group called Top Contractor. Head over there, answer the questions, jump right into the group. And we spend all of our time talking about business fundamentals, because knowing how to do the really simple fundamental things is what then allows us the room to get creative and play. I hope this helps. And I look forward to connecting with you guys more in the future.